Hello and welcome back for the final part of Pulp Fiction on The Cutting Room. I'm John and I'm with Matt and Westy.
Yo. Hello.
You can get the previous part here, and we're now on to part 3, where we'll be talking about our individual highlights for the movie and then bringing it all back home by rating the film out of 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So here it goes, our highlights. Some of the most iconic moments of 90s Hollywood come from Pulp Fiction, so there is a feast for us to get into in the highlights section. So Westy, what are you going for?
I'm going to go for not the opening sequence, but the introduction to the film when we first meet Jules and we first meet Vincent and they're off to get that briefcase, and it is just so... I can watch this over and over and over again. It's so much fun. The dialogue, just the shot choices, just the moving camera, just the confidence, and the whole sequence is absolutely astonishing. But the thing that always gets me about this sequence, when you get that iconic trunk shot...
So that means it could be up to 5 guys up there? It's possible. We should have fucking shotguns.
And then they go in and there's 3, including their guy. But that dialogue from Jackson is just electric. He's engaging. He's so charismatic.
What does Marcellus Wallace look like?
I mean, he improvised flipping that table over, which you can tell from the actor playing. Brett's just like, what the fuck? Everyone in the room's just like, Jesus. And then it comes back to the dialogue and settles in. A lovely, lovely touch as well is when Vincent lights up the cigarette and Jules is still having his monologue and walking around, but there's just that puff of smoke on the left-hand side of the frame that just comes into the scene. You know Vincent's still there, even though he's not in frame. And I just love that. Just from start to finish of that whole sequence, to me, is just how you make a whole film.
What? English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
That is better than most full 2-hour films. That one sequence in itself. I've seen it so many times. I know it word for word. I know it shot for shot.
Does he look like a bitch? What?
And it's still amazing. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, and we do find out later there's a guy hiding in the toilet who tries to kill Jules and Vincent.
Yeah.
Credited as Robert Arquette, later became Alexis Arquette, but at this point, the absolute double of Jerry Seinfeld. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I love that line, but this is at the end of the film when he's talking to Marvin. He's like, did you not tell us that someone was in there with a fucking hand cannon? Brilliant.
Yeah. No wonder Julia Louis-Dreyfus almost got the job.
Inside job.
But Jackson in this scene is like a perfect marriage between writer and actor.
Yeah.
I know that Tarantino says Sam doesn't say my lines, he sings them.
Oh, you were finished. Oh, well, allow me to retort.
And that's never more apparent than in the Bible passage he quotes.
Ezekiel 25:17.
It's not an exact quote from the Bible. Part of it's from the Bible, and the rest of it is taken from another film. You heard about that?
Oh.
No.
So, a very similar passage is said in The Bodyguard. Not Kevin Costner and Whitney.
I was going to say, no, it's not.
Not that The Bodyguard.
I know that too well.
The 1976 martial arts film starring Sonny Chiba.
Oh, right. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
The path of the righteous man and defender
Is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men.
And thing is, of all places, it also pops up in the MCU at one point in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where at one point we see Nick Fury's gravestone. And the inscription is "The Path of the Righteous Man," Ezekiel 25:17.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
And Tarantino originally wrote it for From Dusk Till Dawn for Harvey Keitel's Preacher to say, but it's much better here, surely.
Yeah,
it's
of course
much
it is.
better. Yeah.
Maybe Keitel did a Travolta. I'm not a preacher guy.
I don't believe in vampires.
We'll play it anyway. Another thing that's been talked about at length as well is what is in that briefcase. You know, it's constant. It's just got everyone's imagination, and it could be anything, and that's completely intentional from Tarantino, I think, just to get people guessing and to get people talking. But it's just a light bulb if you have a look at the behind-the-scenes shots, which is great. But he told Travolta, he just said it's something that you've never ever seen before, but always wanted to. That was kind of his direction on how he was supposed to sell it.
We happy? Yeah, we happy.
But there are some theories. The first one is it's the diamonds from Reservoir Dogs.
I got the diamonds.
I like that.
Yeah, that would have worked. I'd have quite liked that.
Yeah, but he didn't want to make it like, didn't want to link it to Reservoir Dogs as much.
Right.
Which is weird because you've got Vic Vega and Vince Vega. And also, as well, Harvey Keitel's character in Reservoir Dogs has the same surname as Jimmy's character in Pulp Fiction, so they're implied to be brothers.
Really?
Some of the other theories are it's the gold suit that Val Kilmer wears in True Romance as Elvis.
Clarence, I like you. I always have. Always will.
I mean, what? Isn't Elvis a vision in Clarence's head in True Romance?
Yeah,
Makes
you
no
don't even
sense.
see. He's not even in focus. You don't even know it's Val Kilmer. Never mind a gold suit.
Yeah.
The other one is Marcellus Wallace's soul, which has got the plaster on the back of his neck where the soul comes from, and the combination is 666.
Yeah, it's because of that earlier scene where we see the plaster on the back of Marcel's head. Apparently, that's the point from which, in some spiritual faiths, your soul escapes. Apparently,
I've never read that. I don't know, but I think someone's made that up as well.
Are you a spiritual man, Westy?
Does it look like it?
No.
No, absolutely not. But Tarantino says the contents, like I said, are just whatever the viewer wants it to be, which again I think really works.
Yeah, not Val Kilmer's gold suit though. That's just crazy.
Of course, it's not fucking anything, couldn't it?
And the whole idea of a glowing case is taken straight from a film noir directed by Robert Aldrich called Kiss Me Deadly.
Right, nice.
Yeah.
I would have liked it if you'd opened it and it was just a Royale with cheese.
A huge Royale with cheese.
Huge Royale with cheese. It's the cheese that's glowing gold. He brought it back from Amsterdam. It's still in the wrapper.
Just the golden arches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've improved it.
Wow. Yeah, the ultimate product placement for McDonald's. It's just the golden arches.
Huge scene though. Samuel L. Jackson is superb and one of Tarantino's best.
Oh, yeah, it's flawless. Absolutely fucking brilliant.
My highlight, I'm sticking with Vincent Vega and bringing in Mrs. Wallace to talk about Vincent and Mia's date.
Vincent.
I mean, if somebody has to be resuscitated from ODing, you can hardly call it a great date. But
no. I disagree.
But it is definitely another great sequence in the film. I 100% want to go to Jack Rabbit Slims.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to be served by people dressed as 50s icons. I want to play on that enormous scale extra set. Yeah. And I definitely want to try that $5 shake that Mia gets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing he moans about that and then spends $1.50 on heroin.
Priorities.
His reaction's great. It's a pretty fucking good milkshake.
Yeah.
It's great.
The Jack Rabbit Slim set they had built is just incredible. I mean, the idea of cars doubling up as tables, that came from Speedway, an Elvis film.
Let yourself go.
Right.
And Tarantino makes the most of the set with that tracking shot when we first enter and we follow Vincent around the place. What a set that is.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And have you noticed the posters on the wall?
Yeah.
All Roger Corman films?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the way Travolta walks around as well, because if he wasn't in this, he could actually be one of the people doing like the serving. He could be Danny from Grease.
Yeah.
He could be just in the T-Birds outfit. Oh, that's John Travolta.
Yeah, he proves that he's still got it, not just with his acting chops, but on the D floor as well.
Yeah.
Great moves from both Travolta and Thurman. Not so great from Tarantino when you see him behind the scenes.
No, not really.
Not.
Awful, in fact. Really sweaty as well. But then it totally switches and we go from Jack Rabbit Slims to Lance and Jodie's drug den, where Lance seems to be permanently in a bathrobe.
Nothing wrong with that.
Apparently Tarantino wanted John Cusack to play Lance, but he passed, so he brought in Eric Stoltz, and I'm glad he did, because he's hilarious.
He's really
funny.
Really funny.
Any stabbing motion. I gotta stab her 3 times. No, you don't gotta fucking stab her 3 times. You gotta stab her once.
You gotta peel the breastplate to get through that.
Yeah, brilliant.
My little fucking black medical book.
Fucking magic marker.
The felt pen, the fucking magic marker.
Get the shot.
It shouldn't be that funny.
I know. It's a delivery. It's hilarious.
The product placement's amazing as well, because Game of Life and Operation are in the background,
brilliant.
which is fucking unbelievable.
Because Tarantino's a massive fan of board games, that's why.
Yeah.
And this was another controversial scene in the film because of the overdose and the adrenaline shot. And when the film was played at the New York Film Festival, somebody in the audience collapsed during this scene. Wow. They had some kind of heart attack, and Tarantino loved it.
This movie fucking works. It's like shit. This shit's like too intense for human beings.
Frank Cross.
Who's that? She's pretty.
He's pretty.
I mean, obviously, Tarantino, he did take those dance moves from other places. So it starts off like 8.5 by Fellini. There's a dance scene in that, so that's a big influence. And then it was actually Travolta who recommended that the bust out the Bertuzzi at one point, which, if you've not seen it, that's Adam West's dance move from the Batman TV show, which is amazing. But specifically for Thurman, really bizarrely, she's influenced, by the way, one of the Cats dancers in the Aristocats.
Oh, nice.
Right, nice.
Tarantino has demonstrated that as well, appallingly badly as well. If you've never seen
Obviously. Always badly.
But bless him, though, one of the things I love about Travolta was he took Thurman to aside at one point just to talk to her and calm her down, because apparently she was very nervous about dancing opposite the guy from Saturday Night Fever in Greece.
Yeah, his moves are unbelievable in those two, to be fair.
Great. And this, he does that little point when he goes up on his toe. Like, towards it. It's just so... And then hangs his arms down. I've tried to do that so many times.
You still got it.
I've been fucking swilled so many times trying to do that.
Also, Thurman apparently didn't like Tarantino's choice of song for the scene.
Right,
You Never Can Tell by Chuck Berry. She questioned it, but Tarantino just said, trust me, it's perfect.
Love that.
Of course he did.
Trust me, it's perfect. Of course it is. And he's right. Yeah, we see Vincent's car in the sequence. He drives a 1964 Chevy Malibu, which was actually Tarantino's car, and it got stolen just after the film came out, actually. But it got returned and found 20 years later, and somebody who bought it didn't realise it was stolen, so he's got it back now, which is a massive relief.
Don't fuck with another man's vehicle. You don't do it.
It's a lovely car.
It's a beautiful set of wheels, to be fair.
Fantastic.
I like the Texas switch to do as well, when Vincent steamrolls onto Lance's lawn. Then by the time the camera catches up, Travolta and Thurman are there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Another little trick as well, when Vincent gives Mia the shot, the way they filmed that was that Travolta mimicked pulling the needle out, and they just reversed the footage. The old tricks are the best tricks, I think.
Yeah. You were dangerous going full force forward, wouldn't it?
So, Vincent Vega and Mia Wallace's date might be one of the worst in history. At least he didn't give her a foot massage, though.
At least he didn't. No. Ketchup.
And Matt, what's your highlight from the film?
Well, I'm going to go for kind of just join in the praise that Bruce Willis leads. I think Butch retrieving the gold watch.
This watch was on your daddy's wrist when he was shot down over at Hanoi.
It's just a good reminder that, he was a proper movie star, but he could be a really good actor, and he just shines so much in this whole scene.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Floyd.
Because you got to buy that decision that not only is he going to double cross Marcellus, which is pretty much as dangerous as it gets, he's then going to risk it all by going back just for this watch. But I buy it. I buy his rage when he exploited Fabian for forgetting and then hurling that TV across the room.
Yeah.
And I think it's just what Willis does really well, which is portray a guy who doesn't necessarily think things through, but he just goes on instinct. It's a very John McClane thing to do, don't overthink it, don't plan it, just get on with it and see if you can get away with it.
Yeah, but it shows his weakness as this character, though. It hasn't got a John McClane kind of I can get away with anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, do I really buy, he would stick around and have some Pop-Tarts, considering how much danger he's in? Not really, but I bet they're Tarantino's favourite brand of Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
And that's why they're in there.
They're a made-up brand, actually, because Pop-Tarts refused to do it.
Ah, right.
But every time Toast pops, I want to shoot John Travolta. Every fucking time, no matter what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Great reaction shots from Vince and Butch. But I have to say, in this sequence, Fabian for me is easily the weak link in the film.
Hello, Fatso. I don't have a foot.
Not a great performance. Irritating, whiny character, stop going on about potbellies and pancakes.
What happened to my Honda?
I'm sorry, baby. I had to crash that Honda.
Just stop crying, get on the bike. So it's a great sequence. Willis is brilliant. It's just a shame she's in there as well, because she does do my head in.
Do you know what what made it more accessible for me, though, for that character is I watched it again and again and again, and only recently have I realised that she's definitely pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
She's talking about the potbelly. She's talking about all the pancakes and all the food that she's going to order.
Yeah.
Everything's all up in the air, and she's terrified of what's going to happen and where they're going to go. So that, for me, really helps that character, I think.
Who's Zed?
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
The other thing I love about this is it pays off the Christopher Walken monologue as well, which is incredible. I mean, it's the first way you see his ass during that monologue.
He hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass.
It's so seasoned. Up his ass. And it's like, oh, this is actually really funny. The thing about Walken, though, he was worried about his mouth drying out for the monologue, so in between takes he was necking hot sauce, of all things.
Wow.
Yeah.
5 long years he wore this watch. Up his ass.
I mean, yeah, brilliant monologue from Walken, obviously. Tell you what's horrible, though. How Zed drums his fingers on the gimp's head. Awful. Horrible.
Yeah.
I'll do it on here. That sticky leather. Yeah.
And, I mean, Vincent needs to stop going to the toilet. He goes 3 times in the film, and first time he comes out, and Mia's overdosed.
Oh, fuck me. Fuck me.
He goes in the restaurant, and when he comes out, Ringo and Yolanda have stuck the place up. And third time is here, when he gets blown away by Butch.
Yeah. Just hold it in, mate.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real theme of the film. Don't go for shit in other people's toilets.
Yeah.
It's a good message.
Yeah, that's a side effect of the heroin use, though, isn't it? That's why he's always going to the toilet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the book that Vincent's reading as well on the toilet. Have you noticed what it is?
I can't remember the name of it.
It's the first ever Modesty Blaise novel. Modesty Blaise
Right.
is a female spy who was popular in the 60s. Total Tarantino-esque reference, that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and a bit Matt didn't really touch on there is, the basement sequence. But the song that plays, originally, Tarantino wanted My Sharona by the Knack. Which, I love that song, and I'm so pleased he didn't.
Yeah.
Because it's like, but that song is now synonymous with that sequence. But again, you have actors whose careers are ruined almost by having sequences like this. But Ving Rhames isn't necessarily remembered for this moment.
No.
And neither is Peter Green, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they couldn't get the My Sharona because it was on Reality Bites. They already had the rights to it.
Right.
Because Ben Stiller directed that.
I mean, I wouldn't change it now anyway.
No.
Comanche by the Rebels is like stitched into this scene. That sax.
Yeah.
That must be the dirtiest sounding sax I've ever heard.
And also, a lot of people think that the gun Butch picks up to shoot Vincent was brought there by Vincent, but it isn't. It's left there by Marcellus when he goes to get donuts and coffee.
Yeah.
And that moment where Butch comes across Marcellus in the car, shot almost identically to Psycho, when Marion comes across her boss after stealing the money.
Yeah.
As Picasso put it, good artist copy, great artist steal.
Absolutely.
Tell you one of my favourite things about that quote. Tarantino later stole it off Picasso.
Of course he did. And then put motherfucker on the end of it.
There are many moments that would have made good highlights in Pulp Fiction, and 3 of the best we've talked about there, I think.
I think so.
Matt, you're up first, please. Your summary and score for Pulp Fiction.
It's brilliant film. But just from a purely personal standpoint, I do prefer his later films because he's not trying to make films that are just cool. He's trying to make films that have real substance to them, but make them cool at the same time. And this one, it's maybe just a little over familiar now because everyone talked about it so often. So I don't get quite as much from it as I do other Tarantino films. And like I say, Fabian does irritate me a bit. But the rest of it is just so good. They are very, very small flaws. So overall, it's a 9.5.
Yeah, I think this is surely the biggest indie film that's been released in our lifetimes. The most impactful, definitely. We could be sitting here saying we don't know how Tarantino created a cultural landmark with an $8 million budget, but I think we do. The writing is exceptional, hugely original at the time and massively influential since. The main cast all turn in either career-making or career-transforming performances. The famous scenes come thick and fast, iconic visuals run back-to-back, and the quotable lines. Some of the greatest movie dialogue ever written for me.
Most of it's quotable.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
One of the great screenplays, one of the top films of the 90s, and still, for me, Tarantino's best. It's a big kahuna burger, 10 out of 10 for me.
Lovely. Very nice.
And Westy, your summary and score for Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, I still feel as excited watching this now as when I first watched it, and I remember watching it and going, "This is for us. This is our generation's film. This is really exciting. What's going to come after this? What they're going to do? Wow, there's Guy Ritchie." And then all of a sudden, all of a sudden, there was just this rehash of Pulp Fiction, rehash of Pulp Fiction, rehash
so
of
many.
it. So many that kind of put us off for a few years, and then I've come back to it again, and I just really, really adore the film to the point where it makes us feel like I was that age again, and I get excited about film. It makes us kind of want to write something or make something. It just makes us like, it fires us up, and that gets us really excited. And there's very, very few films that do that. It's timeless, it's effortless, it's cool as fuck, it's absolutely amazing, and I'll watch it forever. It's a 10, easy.
Lovely. So overall, that leaves Pulp Fiction with a score of 29.5 out of 30. A whopper of a score.
Didn't go to Burger King.
Go on metric system over there.
And we have reached the end of our Pulp Fiction episode. If you liked it, please support us on Patreon. That will get you access to benefits like bonus episodes of The Cutting Room and also access to our full podcast archive, over 200 hours worth.
Yep.
The podcasts are also available on our website. Lots of great articles and features are added to the site regularly, so go check that out at alltherightmovies.com. Mainly though, becoming a patron will allow us to make more videos just like this one.
Yeah.
We are at the end though, and we're all off to walk the earth like Kane in Kung Fu. So we'll see you next time.
See you later, guys.
See you later, guys. Thank you.
Gotta be one charming motherfucking pig.
Moi, je trouve ça me va très, très bien.
Tu es encore plus folle que moi.
Breathless, man. What film? What film? Love God, I'd like. Who needs a girlfriend? Not me. Got this guy. Hello?
Matt?
Westy.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm alright, mate. How are you?
Mate, I thought you weren't doing this shit anymore.
Royale with cheese, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.